Hi everyone, so we're going to also continue from the same project here, and I'm just going to add some stylizing. So I'm going to add Tailwind to this project so I can make it a little bit nicer looking. And I'm going to be looking at this documentation, Tailwind CSS, and I'm going to be using Post CSS right here. So click on this tab if you're here. You can just Google Tailwind and you'll get to this, you can click on the documentation part and click on using Post CSS, and down here we're gonna grab this line right here and we're gonna just install this in our project. And we're also then going to grab this part right here. I'm just going to add this to the README documentation. And I'm also, let me grab the right one. So I'm going to run these two commands. So I'm just on the second one right now. And let me go back here. And now that this is done, I'll run the second one. And now that this second one is done, what it does is it creates this tailwind.config and the postcss.config, and it gets it ready for us so we can use. So there are some stuff that we do have to add, and right here in the tailwind.config, we're going to actually add a few stuff here. I'm just going to put a few contents in here. And what this is essentially doing is it's looking within these specific directories, pages and components, whatever you call it. I don't have any components right now, but I'll just leave it there for now. So in case I do, I could use it. And what it's essentially doing is it's saying look in the directories or folders called pages or components and look for anything that ends in .js, ts, jsx, or tsx, and then apply these stylizing, the Tailwind stylizing on all of these files. So we could save that. And the next thing we have to do is, let me just double check here. And you can see that we have the post CSS and Tailwind and auto prefixer added to our dependencies. So make sure you have these. Next, we have to go into our styles. And there's a few things we have to change. So what we have to do is we have to delete everything here in the globals.css, and we're going to go back here, and I have to add this part, these 3 lines here into that CSS document. And this is where you're going to be able to customize all of the different stylizing that you want. And I'm just going to add a bit here. So next thing we have to do is we are going to actually have to go back to our index.js. And what we're going to do is we're going to just start adding our stylizing because it should be ready to use now. And let's start at the top first so we could see what changes happen. And just remember that Tailwind is all based on classes, so we have to make sure we use class name is equal to, and then we can add the different ways of stylizing in here. If you want to know like what all these terminologies mean, I'll make a separate video on this. And I'll just add a little bit more. I'll just finish this one form, and then we can check to see what it looks like. And I'm just going to copy the rest of the stylizing for the buttons because it is fairly long. And just so I save some time, you can always check out the documentation or like the code on GitHub in order to grab all this information. So I finished one form. Let's just quickly take a look to make sure nothing is missing. And I just have to restart the server here. Okay, so I see the problem here. I just didn't put the brackets properly. So right here, there should be closing and ending bracket around each of these 6 codes right here for the color. So let's save it right now. So it should work. So we're going to do the login form now. And again, I'm just going to copy the stylizing for the button, just because it's a really long piece of code. You'll be able to find this code on GitHub, so you could copy it if you like. And I'll just do the last little bit here because it's almost done. So we should have all of the stylizing complete now, and we'll just save this and go online again. And you can see here, it's nicely stylized, it's nicely working. I'm going to sign out. So let's try testing this again. Let's try registering a user. Say good@good.com. Register. You can see here they're logged in right now. Let's click sign out so they're off. And good@good.com. Log in. And you can see here the user's logged in again. And let's double check the database here on all the users. And you can see here we got good@good.com. The account has been created here on Firebase. So this is how you create this entire application. I'm going to be leaving this finished code on GitHub, and you'll be able to reference this link. You'll be able to check it out and download it yourself if you want to use it.